Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey, and we are the Markout Movie Podcasters. How about that for some enthusiasm, Aaron?
That is some enthusiasm. And then on today's episode, by the way, I have it on my screen here on IMDb for Time Cop, and unaware to me that there is a new Mean Girls movie. But okay, uh, had no idea. But anyway, on this episode, we are doing Time Cop. Is this John Claude Van Damme's first appearance on
Yeah, we're bursting that bubble today.
with first in that bubble with Split? Uh,
Yeah.
much a bunch of splits. I didn't know that as many splits was in this movie as there is. But for those that wants to know, 1994 Time Cop. I'm going to give you the quick synopsis. Uh, Max Walker, an officer for a security agency that regulates time travel, must fend for his life against shady politicians whose intent on changing the past to control the future. Starring John Claude Van Damme, one of our favorite action guys, um, in one of his biggest blockbuster successes, actually. Um, Mia Sarah as Melissa. She's for those that don't know, she was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off as Sloan, and also what's that movie with Tom Cruise and Tim Curry?
Oh,
Legend.
legend.
Legend. She's in that movie as well. That's the only three movies I've seen her in. She's probably been in other stuff, but I literally can't think of anything other than those three movies.
Well,
um,
that's something there.
uh, also, one of Brandon's favorite, Bruce McGill.
Oh, I
Is
love
it?
him. Yes, I was so excited to see his face again. I forgot he was in this movie, but I was so excited to see his face. He's worked
Yeah,
in
he was.
all of them.
Yeah, he was. You know what I like about him in this movie is that he typically plays like bad characters, like the butthole type of characters. But
Yeah.
in this is very endearing, and I really enjoyed it. And I was just waiting for him to, like, I forgot, and so I was waiting for him to be like scumbag, but it didn't happen. So I was happy. I was happy about that. I was happy I could continue to like him. So yeah. Um, and then Gloria Rubin is in this one as well. And there's other people.
Yeah, like
Uh,
Ron Silver, who I can't think of his name, and I know people are gonna be so mad at me because he was Hans Gruber, and he played Snake in Harry Potter, and he was also in Galaxy Quest, which we did review. I can't think of his name, but he looks so much like him from Die Hard in this movie. Did you ever get
uh,
those vibes that he was basically playing a Hans Gruber type
I got
character?
I got from him. Are you talking about the same? You talking about the same guy, right? The lead villain, or are you talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, lead villain.
Ron Silver?
Yeah, Ron
I
Silver.
was getting I forgot his name was Ron Silver. The whole time I was thinking it's not Andy Garcia, but he reminds me of Andy Garcia. Like when I'm like, where do I know this guy from? But yeah, I got. I was gonna tell you who I thought. He's very much like Anthony Hopkins, and not Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper. Uh, very much uh, like that politician villain, the sleazy villain.
Yeah.
Uh, but he actually put me in the mind of Trump. This was literally what I was thinking. I was like, this movie predicted that. So,
Wow. I
I
didn't
mean,
think we were going to come on the podcast today and insult Trump, but here we
I'm,
are.
but no,
You
I'm
are
just saying.
definitely insulting Trump because this guy is a sleazebag. So that tells me what you think of Donald Trump.
No, I don't think that way about him. I
You
can't.
based.
But I'm saying as far as like someone that he literally says, I want to be a billionaire so that I don't have to listen to my advisors. I can just do what I want, and
Oh, that
like it
aspect.
could be, yeah, that aspect, and that's where his mindset was, and so that's what it reminded me of. I was like, man, they kind of hit the nail on the head on that.
I thought you were calling Trump a sleazebag, which he is. I,
I mean, yeah,
I have no bias towards him whatsoever. But what he's
walks
been,
like a duck and talks like a duck.
I
But
think he
anyway,
is. I think he's a sleazebag. But I think Biden is too. So it's a lose lose
yeah,
situation.
yeah, it literally is Biden. Biden is not uh, Biden is not I don't know, a great pick either. But my point is, this movie, what I liked about it, man. First of all, it starts off with the mall in 1994,
Hmm.
uh, and you get uh, him. His didn't the first thing we see of him is his foot stopping a purse snatcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like he said, what did it say? Wolverine. What read between the lines. I should get out of here or something like that. But yeah, man, what do you think about this is this is premier Van Damme. This is
Yeah.
when he was in his bag. Like I guess sudden death, um, which I always like that as well. This
Yeah.
is like that Van Damme.
Yeah. This is also this is Premier Van Damme. I agree, but this is also drug impacted Van Damme.
Oh wow.
He was on drugs really bad during this time of his life, which I think kind of helped his performance. I hate to say that, but
Hmm.
I do think it got him through. But I was watching this movie though, and I was thinking, oh man, Schwarzenegger started this sci-fi action star
Hmm.
with certain films he did. Obviously, the Terminator is top build there, but other stuff too. You know, do we actually consider Demolition Man to be that as well? I do, but I don't know how you feel about that. And
When
then
did
of course
Demolition Man
this
come out?
93. This was
Uh,
Van Damme. I feel like trying to play catch up with those guys. So I got to do a science fiction movie too about time travel. So and this film right here is why I would always put him head and shoulders over Seagal, because that was the big matchup for the B team,
the B
Seagal or
team.
Van Damme.
Yeah, I would
Seagal did the
agree.
same thing over and over. Van Damme at least tried to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, first of all, Van Damme is a lot more
Oh, no doubt.
like as far as like I didn't even say it, but
Yeah,
he's a lot more.
no
He's just
arguments.
a lot more. He's a lot more like likable.
Yep.
I enjoy his movies. Like Seagal, like if there's one movie I'm gonna say, oh, I really enjoyed. It would be Under Siege. Honestly, maybe the Mark to Death.
Yeah.
But I think that but with Van Damme is just likable. He's just like
Yeah.
he has the carries charisma. Like even when you supposed to hate him, like for instance in like no no retreat no surrender.
Oh, he's the best part of that movie.
Yeah, he's like literally hands down when he's on the screen he steals it, and
Yeah.
you want more of him, and I can see how he became who he is. You know.
Yeah. I would as far as Seagal goes though, my favorite film of his has always been Hard to Kill. And I think because you finally see him get taken down, because you can't touch me. He's got that you can't touch me. I always got to win. I can't have my enemies get close to touching me. Where Van Damme, on the other hand, he gets beat up in
Hmm.
every movie he does. He will. It's a fight, and it's a true fight, which is why I love watching Van Damme over Seagal, because it's got everything. and we're so goal. It was so one sided, and
You know,
that's kind
I'm
of why I
sorry.
like Hard to Kill, because he gets taken down, almost killed.
Yeah,
So I like
I
seeing
was
Seagal go down. Okay.
I was just looking at like I just went to John Claude Van Damme. By the way, I'm gonna be honest. I've never seen JCVD. I heard it's
Oh,
really good.
that is as a really good character study, in my opinion. Nick Cage
Um,
agrees.
there you go.
Because that
But
was his inspiration to do the the Massive Talent movie he did, where he played himself. He got
okay.
inspiration from Van Damme.
Uh, but what I was gonna say is real quick. I
Hmm?
totally forgot about Double Impact. That
Oh,
was even a thing.
how you
And
forgetting that?
it's just like I totally forgot that was a movie. But yeah, I really
How you
enjoyed it.
going? How you gonna forget?
It
I mean, it's
just
got
it,
Bolo Young. It's got Van Damme playing two characters. Oh man, it's
it
got.
sounds like you're gonna choose that sometime.
I
Uh,
would love to. I actually own it, so maybe if it's streaming someday.
but my thing is so we start with Van Damme at the mall. He's meeting Sloane, his wife. I'm gonna call her Sloane. And he they go home and you know and she's wanting to tell him that she's pregnant. But he's
Yeah,
really busy with work. He has to go. He says, "Can not wait till I get back?" But he doesn't even get to make it to work because uh, there's a home invasion essentially, and
yeah,
he doesn't know what's happening. Um, and his he gets shot, but he survives because he has a vest on. But in the meantime, his wife and his house blows up, and so he loses his wife. So flash backward to 1929. This movie, by the way, starts with like the Confederate soldiers getting killed for their government. I forgot to mention that. What was your thoughts on that code open?
confusing. Like when I first saw the movie, very confusing because like, what is this? I didn't understand the concept. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
like it confused me, and I even think today it's still a confusing concept. I don't think it's a great time travel movie. I think it confuses me even more. Uh,
And
Going
there's
back
a
and
lot
watching
of
it,
loopholes, a lot of loopholes.
yeah,
But
it just, if it wasn't for Van Damme, I probably wouldn't enjoy this movie.
I agree.
I don't like the aspect of the time travel in this one. It just it's more complicated than it should be, and I don't know. But how it starts, I mean, it was interesting, but I was somewhat confused why we start here,
Yeah.
and then we cut to 1994. Like, why are these people attacking Van Damme? But it makes sense
Well,
in the end, but then again, it doesn't, because he changes things.
the thing is that the beginning, the opening, it was only so that whenever the generals and stuff are talking to the president, that Scott Lawrence guy who plays Spada, um, who talks to the president is like, yeah. So we there was some Civil War gold that was stolen and used in a a foreign type of drug deal or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it was just for that. So they showed us that the gold was stolen, and the soldiers was being confronted with somebody with newer technology, like with modern guns. Um, which, but I want to get to the 1929 scene. Is before we get to see a new grizzled old uh, older Van Dam, 10 years older. Uh, we see we see a guy who's literally using the stock market in the the fall of the stock market, but knowing the future,
Hmm.
utilizing it to get rich.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it's a really
He's ripping off Biff Tannen. That's what he's doing.
he's ripping off. ripping off this, and I thought about that. I thought about that, like uh, knowing like it does borrow heavily from Back to the Future.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, you can't miss
but
it. I mean,
I would argue that all time travel movies post Back to the Future borrow from Back to the Future.
they do. Yeah, that is like the blueprint of how you make a time travel movie.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I enjoy that scene. I gotta think about Van Damme's hair though, man. I don't like it.
He's sporting the mullet. Van Damme is
I don't
sporting the mullet.
I don't like the look. Man, I prefer 1994 look over 2004 version of Van Damme, but I think I enjoy the scene though. He takes him back, and and he's wanting him to testify, and he won't do it. So they're going to just bring him back to 1929,
Yeah.
where he's going to be falling to his death, suicide. And I'm like, that's wrong on so many
Yeah.
levels.
You know what? You know also what I got vibes from watching this movie. Honestly, Loki. I got vibes from Loki because the time agency there and how they have trials and courtrooms and things like
Yeah,
that and the Senate. It reminded me of that, and I wanted to see more. Looking back at it, I wanted to see more time travel stuff, seeing them going in and out because they only played with '94 and they played with 2004, futuristic 2004, which they missed the mark on what that was like. We didn't have we didn't have cars that drove around like self drive cars. We didn't have that.
not yet.
Yeah, no, not. I mean, we do now,
Yeah,
honestly, like
so
with Tesla,
they at
but
least got it right eventually.
yeah. And that's another thing. He did have a flat screen television mounted on the wall
Hmm.
in 2004, um, which 2004 didn't have that, but now we do have those.
Yeah,
And also he had this like almost like an Alexa or type of thing. Whenever he came in the house, that were like a smart home that read messages to him. We
yeah,
had that. Just like so, they did get some things right, and in that case, I would say Back to the Future got it right because everything post Back to the Future 1 and 2 is essentially them building off of what Back to the Future did.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I like that aspect. I agree with you. I didn't like the tag. The mullet.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing in 2004.
But I like it better in Hard Target, but because it's a little bit longer. I don't know if that's his real hair, if he was just wearing a wig, but I still don't like it, but I liked it better in that movie. It just I don't know. It don't fit. It's not my version. It's not my image I see when I see Van Damme. It's just
It's not the JCVD.
no. It's not. I feel it's him trying to build on to his resume, his mystique, he's just trying to do something different. And I feel like
Yeah,
he's always been trying to do something different and then just be the martial artist actor. That
yeah.
so
So
he's trying to add layers to his character.
uh, about the guy who they sentenced to death immediately.
Yeah.
He um, so had he not jumped from the window, how would they have had him die? It's just like those are the questions I had. Like, oh, if he hadn't jumped from the window and he like what why is his crime it, punishable by death? Like, also that's another question. Mess with time is a death crime.
Yeah, like, I kind of get it to a degree, even though I think it's wrong.
Hmm.
Because you can mess anything up. If you change one little thing, it's a ripple effect. So I get it, but it seems extreme at the same time. You know,
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, and also like with like you saying that the moment that Van Damme or Max in this movie Walker goes and beats up anybody from the past, or kills or hurts anybody from the past, it is a ripple effect that
Yeah,
would change something in the future because that person would have never been beaten up unless there's always a loop of that situation where that person would always been beat up. Then you create. It's like the thing is, and that's one thing I had about this. That I didn't hate about this movie, but one thing I was wondering about this movie is the scene where like later on when he Van Damme they go back to him and his new partner, the lady. They go back to '94 fielding. They go back to '94 and and supposedly the guy who invented the chip wasn't murdered originally, right?
yeah.
And so him by them killing him, that is a huge ripple effect already.
Oh yeah,
And there's no way to reset that. Like literally, that never was reset. No, that never was reset. Like there's no way that you reset that.
yeah, yeah. You can't
you
reset
know,
that.
yeah, like even then, like because when he killed him and he goes back to the present 2004, this McLean or whatever the guy's name, McComb, is now pretty much in charge of everything.
Yeah,
And so then, if you him going back to 1994, this is right after McComb, older McComb, future McComb, killed his old partner, uh, and everything. The Even though later on, Walker kills McCombs, uh, it doesn't. The future wouldn't have changed for the better, or maybe I don't know. I don't know. It's just maybe I'm thinking too much about it.
oh, you. This is what you do with these time travel movies. Oh boy, you dissect every little nugget, which gives me a headache personally because I could not dissect every little thing. But that is what you do. That's what you love to do, though. So I give you props for that. That you care, you care about these time travel movies.
Yeah,
I love it though. I do. I love it. But for me personally, if I did that, it would give me such a headache. But yeah, you're right though. I mean, he became so powerful and he's basically untouchable. Um, and once he went back to 2004, once the girl turns on him and everything because she's part of it, which to me, I never bought into that angle.
I, I always hated. I always to this day hate the reveal of the shady partner and stuff.
The
I,
reason.
I, I hate it. It just bothers me. It bothered me with you remember Cocaine Bear? It bothered me with
Oh
in
yeah,
that. It made no sense for her to be like
yeah.
and then like last night watching Fast X with my dude Jack Reacher. It bothered me
Oh,
then. I was like,
did you see it coming though?
no, I didn't see it coming.
Oh
I
man.
did you see it coming?
Oh, as soon as once we meet Dante in the Fast Five scene, and there's a guy sitting in there in that seat. I knew it was him. So I was
Oh,
like, oh, he's gonna be a villain in this movie
oh,
eventually.
wow. So you noticed him the first time.
Yeah, I noticed him from the get go. I was like, oh man, well, I'm kind of interested in how he's gonna play a villain because that's my man Reacher,
Hey,
and I feel
real quick,
sorry for Vin Diesel now.
this is now I will say this real quick. I'm gonna before we get back to time cop. I want to say with the guy that played Jack Reacher. What's his? The actor's name?
I don't. He's just
Uh,
Richard to me.
but I want to say this. This is what my hopes is for Fast X because of Fast X. I hope because he was a he's put on such a display that I hope that he started getting more action roles and more movie roles, like actual theatrical release type of
Yeah.
stuff.
You
Because
know,
he man, he to me like every scene that he's in, I was like so excited, and so and I credit you for
yeah,
introducing me to Reacher.
I'm gonna say something stupid here, which is not a shock to anybody that watches this podcast. Yes, I do make fun of myself. Um, I think he has the presence to be similar to Schwarzenegger.
Mhm.
He's got comedy chops. He proved that in Reacher. It's very subtle, but he's got them, and he's got a presence on camera, man. I'm not saying he can be as big as Arnold or anything like that, but he can have a presence like Arnold had, where he's built like Arnold was in the '80s, maybe even bigger. I mean, dude is huge, and he can act, and I hope Reacher's already done something for his career, and now he's in Fast X, and he's going to be in the next installment. I feel like he
Hopefully,
could
man.
be that missing piece that Arnold left. Like, I mean, it kind of went to Dwayne, but
But at this point, Dwayne is honestly, Dwayne is too old to kind of to do that, to do those things.
yeah,
And I think at some point, I would hope that in his career he will want to kind of venture into other things. But maybe that's his bag and that's what he's going to do. But I don't think Cena, which I want to talk before we're gonna talk about Fast X after this. But yeah, we'll get back to it. Let's get back to his concept. Um, uh, so she became the bad guy. What were you gonna say that what you
yeah.
didn't
What I was
like?
going to say about her doing this, she is just introduced, and you gonna make her turn. There is no character development. We don't know her. It just
We
made
don't
no
really care
sense.
about her. We don't really care
You
about
don't
her at
care
all.
it because you just literally meet her. She's on screen maybe 10 minutes at this point when she turns. I'm like,
Yeah,
why? Why?
I would
Why would
agree.
you do that? See
Now,
that that
Had it been Bruce McGill, there would have been a little bit more. And
oh,
that's
that would
what
have been everything. That would have been perfect.
I was expecting. I was expecting him to be like to turn on him. I
He would have
totally
made
forgot.
it perfect, even
I
if it was
totally
bad
forgot.
writing. Which it
Yeah,
was bad writing with this. This was. I'm not saying the script was bad. It's in between. It's got some
yeah.
good stuff, but it's got some bad stuff. But yeah, I just think this was unnecessary for her to turn like it. I feel if you're going to do it, make it towards the end, the last act, truly the last 10, 15 minutes. That's when you do it. But I didn't like it. It didn't make any sense to me. It's just, it was unworthy. It just, I hated it.
Yeah,
That is the one aspect I do hate of this movie is that little
yeah,
turn.
yeah. And another thing that like I did like, I will say something I like. I like honestly the relationship between Max Walker and Matuzik, aka Bruce McGill. I like their
Yeah.
building off of one another, uh, and it gave me at one point it gave me 90 cop feels. You know, like when the lieutenant arguing with like the captain, arguing with the
Yeah.
um, captain, arguing with the you know
Detective.
the detective that is rogue. Uh, I like that.
Yeah. It was humorous. I love when he goes back to 2004 though. Everything's changed, you know, and I love that. But
Um, Continue talking.
okay, I was like, has he left me? But yeah, I love that. I love how and I love how Van Damme just kind of like touches his cheeks, and is lighthearted with him. Like that's the connection and the relationship they had, and it was endearing. And like you said, these two people that I wish we could have had more of them on screen than we got because it was just it felt special, like with those two.
Yeah.
I credit that to Bruce more though, because
Mhm.
he is just a great character actor.
Uh,
He can
he, he,
bring he
yeah.
can bring any scene to life. He always has been able to do that
Mhm.
for a guy that's never been the star of any movie that I've ever seen, but he always steals the show in every scene he's
He
in.
brings it. He brings it. Like I just was looking at his acting credit, and I forgot that he was in Animal House. And I would argue to say because people would look at Animal House and think immediately about Jim, not Jim, but John
John.
Belushi. But I would argue and say that Bruce was one of my favorite people that was in that movie.
You
Uh,
know, honestly, what I remember most about that movie, I believe it's Kevin Bacon's May I Have Another?
yeah, I
I remember
forget Kevin.
that more than
Did,
I do anything John Belushi did in that movie.
did Kevin get Friday before he got this, or
I think he got
did he,
Animal House first.
Animal House was his debut?
I
Okay,
believe so.
he was such a young baby face. In there, he kind of still chubby face a
Yeah.
little. But yeah. Anyway, but with this movie, so Van Damme goes back to the past to '94 to try to see if he can get the officer who was shot and betrayed by McComb to become I guess, a witness. Even though there's no memory of her at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not only in the agency, but as a human being, which is tricky. It's tricky, I guess, because she's a Jane Doe, and she probably was going to live out the rest of her life as a Jane Doe. But that was for nothing. There's like she literally was killed
Yeah.
for nothing. Uh, but it's just and that's another thing because later on in the movie when he's going through the agency and he sees her coming back in as like a little rookie or whatever, he talks to her. Like, wouldn't she still? Well, I guess she would have been a straight shooting officer at that point, but I don't know, man. It's me overanalyzing it.
Yeah, that's 2004's version of her being killed in 1994. I guess he changed. Well, I guess, yeah, he would have changed things because he
The
ends up killing.
1994 one would have never been influenced by McComb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
they actually did a good job of that, even though her character is poorly written.
She's very forgettable. If literally if there's not another scene of her walking in the hallway, I would have forgot that she's even in the movie. But
Fair
I
point.
will say that with Matuzik rather, like he was like he was talking to Van Damme's character. It was like, hey, you should come by for dinner, and then like Van Damme, like he said, like Van Damme said to him, you're literally we've been best friends for 10 years or something like that. Like, and he's like, and we're friends. And then like
Yeah.
he said, I've been at your house several times and I've had your wife's school life. She always adds too much salt, and he agreed with him. He's like, yeah, because he knows it proves that yeah they are friends. Um, but that system, if that's the case, then wouldn't you could potentially alternate something every time you travel 2 times and come
Yeah.
back?
Yeah,
Um,
you would. I mean, truthfully. And it's the time travel in this movie is a mess. I mean, there's
hmm
no other way to say it. It's a complete disaster. You know, I would not recommend this movie if I was recommending a good time travel movie.
Yeah, no, I would recommend Back to the Future for
Yeah.
sure. One, two, and three. Honestly, I would recommend even Totally Killer. I recommend that.
Yeah.
There's Hot Tub Time Machine is another fun time travel movie. Um, I can't think
I'm
of
gonna
another.
recommend Terminator 1 and 2.
Terminator 1 and 2. Yeah, yeah. No,
Um
you're right.
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna recommend this. But I would recommend this to someone that wanted to watch
A good
a
Van Damme flick.
martial well or just to feel what the martial art genre was like in its day. I would recommend this. But
This is
I don't feel that this is one of his best movies
Well, I would
anymore.
say, well, yeah, I would say this. If I was gonna let tell somebody, hey, here's 5 Van Damme films to watch, I would, off the top of my head, 'cause I was gonna look it up, but just off the top of my head, I would say sudden death is the number one thing I'll choose for them. So look, watch that because that's one of my favorite ones. I would say Universal Soldier was
Yeah.
fun. Watch that. I would recommend Bloodsport.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would even watch it. I would recommend. I would recommend this one. And then if you want to, I was gonna say I would recommend. I said Double Impact, yeah, because I was gonna say Street Fighter, but I really wouldn't recommend. I've never liked Street Fighter,
I
but
can't recommend. I like
he's
Street Fighter for.
he's the best part of it.
Yeah. Oh, he's crazy in that movie. He's so high in that movie. But if I was doing it, as I am a massive Van Damme film, it would be Bloodsport, Universal Soldier, Double Impact, Kickboxer, and honestly, I'm probably gonna go Cyborg before does. I love Sudden Death. I think it's a better movie, but Cyborg was a little different. It was kind of that Mad Max world, and with Van Damme in it. It was weird to watch at the time, but I'm very fond of that movie, and I just thought it was fun. But those would
So
probably be my five.
you wouldn't recommend JCVD, huh?
For like if you want the ultimate Van Damme experience, no. But if you want his best acting, yes.
Yeah. Now the thing about Kickboxer and even Bloodsport, I always confuse them too. Honestly, it's just it's a
I can understand though. I understand why.
they're very similar, and even to this day, like the clip that we show at the beginning of Action Junkies, is
It's
that's Kick,
Bloodsport.
it's
No, it's
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
That's,
Yeah.
that's when he was blinded,
He's
right?
got the salt in his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And that is that him versus the
Bolo.
yeah,
Chung
Bolo.
Lee
Okay.
from Bloodsport. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
I'm good with Van Damme now.
I see you. I see you. No, no. Um, they also show a replicant on there. What was your thoughts on that one?
uh, uh, Dollar Trash Bin. Now I like the fact that he played a serial killer, and I like Michael Rooker in the movie, but I thought the movie was trash
Yeah.
ultimately.
I didn't like Last Mercenary, and then
Oh, I hated that too.
I
That
don't remember being in Minions Rise of Gru.
Yeah, he's in it. Dolph Lundgren's also in that movie, but eh, he's kind of forgettable. I think he's got one particular scene it's him. He does
Like
like a
Flips or
kick.
something.
No, it's like a kick. It's just, and he gives one of his lines, but it just, it's forgettable.
You know what I would like to see before we give our numbers on this? I would love to see a movie that has John Claude, Nick Cage, and a couple of other guys that were like the would have been considered maybe the B tier type of people that was in type of films that can kind of come together and do something. Not like the Expendables, but just like a cool concept of a movie with like maybe say a Nicolas Cage and yeah, because Nicolas Cage is an action guy like that, but he's just bonkers and it would be fun. But then you have JCVD who could be the action guy, or even have a Jackie. And I would love to see like that type of film.
Yeah, I would
Uh,
have. This is what I think they missed the mark on in Expendables too. They had a potential for a Jet Li versus Van Damme fight, and we didn't get it.
hmm.
And I don't know how you missed that. Instead, you wasted on Stallone and Van Damme. I understand Stallone's he's the head honcho and all that, but you had Jet Li.
Yeah,
You had literally the guy in the 80s and early 90s in Van Damme, and you had Jet Li kind of. I ain't
Who
gonna
is
say he surpassed Jackie, but he was neck and neck to Jackie Chan.
Jet? Is the Jet was always in the conversation when it
Yeah.
comes to like. But I would say that Jackie was the successor to the Bruce Lee throne in a sense.
Mm.
But he did it and took it a comedic way, which I'm happy they did that. But just a straight carbon copy type of Bruce Lee with the Jet Li. It's
Yeah.
Jet is all the way. Jet's movies, man. Like I literally like just thinking about like the what's that one dragon?
Kiss of the Dragon.
Yeah. Kiss of yeah. Then the one with him and Aaliyah, like Romeo Must Die
Romeo.
with
I
him.
love that movie, Romeo
Yeah,
Must
it's
Die.
like
That
oh
showed he
man,
could do comedy. He could do
yeah.
comedy in that. But yeah, I just didn't understand how you get these two guys in the same movie and they don't even cross paths. Like I don't even understand. Two great martial artists just didn't happen. You wasted it on Stallone, and
Yeah.
I understand Van Damme's your main villain and Stallone's your main hero, but how you miss that? I just don't get it. I don't get it. But
But I want to ask you this before we give our remarks. What was your thoughts on the animation and the computer the
yeah,
CGI?
I was gonna get that to when we got to the end, because they all come back together at that same house, and
The
Van Damme just kind of
most,
pushes.
well, first it's that little like whenever they go through the time, it's like a little warpy
Yeah,
like water ripple like a thing, and it kind
yeah,
of comes through. But then but yeah, when when he pushes Macomb into Macomb, he did this ugly, not the worst graphics I've ever seen
it's
in
pretty
that era.
bad.
So it's pretty bad, but the worst graphics I've ever seen is probably Lawnmower Man and stuff. It's just like ugly.
I haven't
It's
seen that.
just like stuff like that. But this one really bad. Doesn't like there's no texture
Yeah,
on the ground, the puddle. It's pretty bad.
and it was a pretty bad way to kill the villain. It was
Yeah,
weak. It really was.
anticlimactic, really.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it in '94. I still don't like it, and it just looks really bad. But I hated it, honestly, and I think it's going to cut some numbers off for me. But yeah, it was anticlimactic, but it just I don't know it. I really didn't like it.
I feel you. Ready to give you marks?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna go lower than I did on Letterboxd. I was a little biased because it is a Van Damme movie. It's not getting a negative score because there's enough Van Damme in the movie, but I was expecting to give us like a 4 or 4.5 revisiting. I had
Mhm.
high expectations. So it didn't live up to my expectations. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 on the Markout meter.
I give you the same. I agree wholeheartedly. I thought that it was that. But yeah, next week I plan on because it's the Thanksgiving episode. Um, we're gonna do Dutch.
Dutch with Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill. Yep, and Ethan Embry. But yeah, there's a movie I hadn't seen in years. Last time I seen it was like on cable, and it's like back a long time ago. Like probably in the early 2000s, I guess. But before we wrap up, I want to talk real quick. I did finally see Fast X, and and I wanted to talk about the growth from the Fast Nine, um, or whatever that one was called, to this
F9.
one. Yeah, of John Cena's character. Like I never really bought him being the brother of whatever Dominic, but
Yeah.
but I would say that John leaned more. It was like a buddy cop type. It was like a buddy road trip type of film with him and his nephew, and I
Yeah,
like that. I like that, and I thought that John did a really good job with being like very likable, and
yeah.
they did a good job so that you felt his death.
Which is
Um,
I got a problem with that death.
hmm
Okay, how come you gonna bring everybody else back, but you definitely killing him? And you know what? Here's the big problem I have with it. You
Go ahead.
bringing The Rock back. You bringing him back, and you kill John Cena. We could have had Cena and The Rock back on screen.
For the
Two
first time.
wrestlers. Yeah, first time ever. And I've heard people say, well, maybe he's not dead. I mean, no one else appears to be dead. So
Yeah, this is true. Like with the Fast and Furious franchise, the only one that's literally dead is Paul Walker. Paul Walker.
but his
Walker.
character is alive.
But you know, that's another problem I have with them is like nobody would believe that he would opt to watch his children
No, I mean,
and
no.
send his wife on a mission. No one. Go ahead and kill him off. Kill him off
I think they're going to.
literally just off screen to say that um, you know, and I will say this too. Jason Momoa was the perfect villain. I
Yeah.
loved him, and somebody compared him to Joker.
Oh,
Uh,
I saw it. I loved
yeah,
it. Like I was with my friend Cody, and he thought he was a little bit too much for this movie. I'm like, well, I understand where you're coming from, but being me, liking the Joker like I do, he makes this movie entertaining.
mm,
He's a villain that this franchise needed, desperately needed.
a real villain. Like, and
Yeah,
the only other villain I thought that was a true villain was actually when Statham was first introduced.
yeah,
Uh, which I always thought that I buy him as villain because I've seen him be a villain in other things.
yeah,
But but the only thing about Statham, he's now too likable to be a villain. Um, and I think that oh man, I just thought that they did a good job. I I know that they haven't really killed Ludacris and Tyreek now. Romeo, Roman, or whatever. They
yeah.
haven't. There's no way they killed him off screen. That's not a death. They survived that somehow. Uh, but um, I don't know, man. I did love Reacher in it. I thought that he was good. And
But you didn't like I can't
Brie
think.
Larson,
Yeah, Brie.
I thought she was okay. I thought that they made her look. It's funny because Marvel did such a job making her look so powerful and you know, and in here she's being carried by Dom. She looks so weak and frail.
Yeah,
You know, which but she apparently begged to be in this movie. She wanted to
yeah.
be in
She wanted to be in it really bad.
it.
Here's another issue I have with this movie. I like the movie. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 when I watched it. But Kurt Russell's character, Mr. Nobody,
Mhm.
he disappears in F9, and they didn't even discuss it. He still, no one knows what's going on with his character. Like, it's like he's been forgotten. You know,
Yeah.
they didn't explain anything with his character, and I don't even remember. Did they kill um, Scott Eastwood? I don't even
No,
remember.
I don't think he's dead. I don't. I just he disappears and you never see him again.
Kind of like
Uh,
Kurt.
yeah. I was hoping that what I was hoping was that at one point I wanted like Scott Eastwood to pop up and be like, "Hey, you know, Paul Walker, or whatever, just killed at his home, you know, or whatever." And that's one way. And then like he goes and checks on his sister, and his sister is like grieving, and you kind of find out, oh well, uh, Jason Momoa did it. He orchestrated it, and it didn't have to be on screen. And then that's what probably drove them to
Yeah.
Rome, and or wherever they went, the Vatican or whatever, and then and that's when everything and it still picks up right there, and he's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
his whole mission in this movie, it's great. It really is. I really love that it's so personal. And he starts with Dom. Now he's going to Hobbs, but he's kind of leaving out somebody very important.
true,
I know he's no longer here, but Brian also played a part in all that.
yeah, yeah,
So you
and
gotta you gotta do something.
that's why they should have started. If I was to do this movie, I would have started with Brian's off-screen death, and maybe, uh, you know, they get in the call like while they're doing the family dinner and stuff, and maybe because Brian's sister's even at the dinner, like it makes no sense. He'll be there. Brian would be
Yeah,
there. Matter of fact, in one movie they teased. Remember when they teased his car pulling in at the very end of the movie?
yeah.
Um, it's just like no, like or just go ahead and recast him. At this point, it's okay. You can recast him, or let someone else be the new Brian for you. Like let Clint Eastwood's son Scott. That's who I thought it was gonna be. Scott was gonna kind of be that guy, but
I just think the fans would just go ballistic if they recast somebody as Brian.
just have somebody else fill that void. And that's what I was hoping. Honestly, the swerve got me. I didn't see the swerve happen, but with Reacher, I literally thought that when I was watching, I had that thought. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. You're good.
Uh, I had that thought while I was watching. I was like, I would be okay with Reacher being that. It's like I just man, he was like so impressive to me.
Yeah,
And but yeah, but no, they're gonna kill him off. You know how they do. It's just like that's what's sad to me. They're gonna kill off this like they kill off really good villains, and I think he'd be a really because he's not really the villain. He's the muscle.
yeah. He's the muscle, but I suspect they will kill him off in the part two. Uh, I'm hoping he's. I don't know. It's kind of confusing because they are bringing The Rock back, but it's going to be a spinoff in between events of part one and two. So it kind of makes me think they're going to kill off The Rock in that movie. Although I just don't believe he's going to work with Vin Diesel ever again. And I believe he's only doing this. Well, first off, a big payday for him. Second off, let Jason Momoa kill me off at the end to setting up the final battle. But I don't know. I just feel like Dwayne's going to get killed off in the next movie, and we'll see. But I really do believe that's what's going to happen. But I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time. It was fun, I haven't felt that way since Paul Walker was alive. That it was fun.
I would give it. I don't think I've rated it, but when I rate it, I'm gonna give it 4 Markouts out of 5. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored with it at all. And part of it is Jason Momoa kept me so interested. Every time he popped up, I was glued to him, and he played so against the type that they would have played with him. He acted in this movie. There's only one part of the movie where he acted like he's a big muscle man. When he's grabbing the two officers and dragging them in the building like that. But other than that, he acted as if he was a smaller, dainty little character. And he's so likable. Yeah. So villain.
I was gonna mention. Oh yeah, the big issue I have moving forward is that this family is just way too big. You got so many characters they're going to try to fit in to that last part, and it's just too big. I feel like certain people should have died in this movie, and you only got one death. But you kill him off, but yet you bring Gal Gadot back. And you bring The Rock back. It's almost like
Han being back is just ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. I like him being back, but just shouldn't even had him die. It's just so dumb. It's and then also I don't like that the cars are so superhuman. Like he literally, but that's part of it, I guess. This is like they say this is the faith-based Avengers essentially. But all right, um, we thank you for tuning in. What do we want the people to do, Brandon?
If you enjoyed this episode, as usual, click that like button, click that subscribe, and whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, subscribe to both if you really enjoyed it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Subscribe,
Yeah,
like, share,
and comment.
comment. Yeah. So, yeah, do all that great stuff. Help support the Markout Movie Podcast. If you
Appreciate
enjoy it. If you didn't enjoy it, we apologize. We'll try better next time.
it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Uh, my bad. But we thank you for tuning in. Aaron Whitlow,
Brandon Spivey.
we'll see you next week for the Thanksgiving episode, and have a good rest of your week and weekend.